In this scenario, you were shooting the 8 ball into the side pocket. You can't kick this way because the 7 ball's in the way. You can't kick in this direction because the 3 ball's in the way. And at the angle he has you frozen into the 1 ball, you certainly can't shoot in this direction. You are forced to have to make a 2-rail kick shot in order to shoot for that 8 ball without having to give up ball in hand, and obviously your opponent would take this game from you. One of the most common things that happens for most players is they got to try to figure out how to eye the rails. Maybe somewhere they're trying to look at how to figure out parallel shifting, moving their cue back and forth, trying to figure out what the ball track, the rail track, what would it take to be able to shoot this ball 2 rails and then ultimately hit it, hoping to have made that 8 ball, and only to find themselves coming up short and once again giving up ball in hand. When I'm looking at this shot, all I need to do is pull out my bank rail angle calculator. I'm simply going to look through the transparent glass. I'm going to apply the center line directly through the center of where the cue ball and the 8 ball is, aiming to the corner pocket that the cue ball will pass in front of. I'm going to use this line through the cue ball and this line aiming back to the 8 ball, and it's going to give me a perfect visual view. Takes less than 7 seconds to see your shot. Looks like this. And there it is. From this point, you could call your 8 ball in the corner pocket and just let the shot go, and with confidence make that 8 ball and win the game. Now, as I stand back and look through the lines that I've explained are on my bank rail angle calculator, as I look through these lines, the very thing that I see are the lines as you see them already demonstrated on the table. So as I would be looking through my bracket, just as you're seeing right now, I'm seeing the lines that clearly indicate through the center of the 2 balls to the pocket passing in the middle. As I see these balls passing from the center to this center pocket, I'm then looking at the parallel line, which is to your right and then to your left, and as I see this line aiming directly to the point of the rail that it wants me to contact, the rest of it comes out automatically as it's parallel lined back to the 8 ball. So now as I step into the shot, just as the bracket indicated to, take my line of aim, pre-stroke, and at this point, release the shot with confidence, knowing I can win the game. Now, 2-rail kicking is tough, whether you're shooting long on the table or even for a short distance. More commonly, though, is banking and 1-rail kicks. And your bracket is going to give you the neatest indicator right on the rail of exactly where to make contact to make that kick shot. It would look like this. Your opponent has now played a safe for you that you have a real tough 1-rail kick to make that 8 ball, to make it work. Now looking through my bracket, I'm looking specifically between the cue ball and the 8 ball, and I'm using that 4 ball in front of the pocket as my mirror to the 8 ball. Looking down the left side line right here, I'm getting my indicator from this point here as to where on the cue I'm going to make contact on the rail. The second line has come down perfectly for me, in this case, right to the 8 ball. But what's very important is to have to go from this 8 ball all the way to a mirror on the opposite side, which is where that 4 ball is. And as I can see through the center, I can see the 4 ball, and my right side line is coming clearly back through the 8 ball. Then the left side line is giving me a clear indication of exactly where to make contact on the rail. Once again, this takes nearly 5 to maybe 7 seconds on the outside for you to get a clear indication of where to make contact on that rail to kick the 8 ball in the pocket. Coming into the shot, aiming directly where the bracket indicated, I can now call the 8 ball into the corner pocket, release the shot, and with confidence, I can win the game. As you can see, my bracket, the bank rail angle calculator, gives me precise control of knowing where to make contact on the rail to make my kick shots with confidence. The same thing is true for a bank shot. Here I have a very similar situation, but instead of the 8 ball being in the corner to kick it with the cue ball, Now it's pinned behind the 1 ball. And the only place that I could play this 8 ball is to the rail and back. And as I set up the indication from my brack, these are the parallel lines, the same way you're seeing them on the screen, that I'm seeing them through the indicator of using my brack as I'm looking directly and then watching it get closer to my eyes, and then I'm seeing where the parallel lines are. I'm seeing the line that's actually going to the rail and then to the pocket, but mostly I'm looking specifically at that ball that's in front of the corner pocket, because that's why I can't shoot the 8 ball in that direction. So with the left side indicating exactly where to make contact on the rail, and the right side is coming directly through the point of the front of the pocket. And remember, the diamond on a corner pocket is always just about 1.5 inches in front of the very front center of the pocket from the shelf. So from this position here, seeing the center line, I know that when I set up my bank shot, I need to kick my bank into the rail here in order to pocket this ball directly here into the 8 ball into the corner pocket. So now as I step into the shot, remembering exactly where the brack had indicated for me to make my shot, and then again, release the shot, bank, and to win the game. Now, as I've taught you before about carom shots, the 2 basic angles of caroms that come off are your 30-degree and your 90-degree. And your bank rail angle calculator is designed specifically to accommodate you for that. These lines that are coming up each of the sides and down through the bottom, these are your perfect 30-degree carom angles. They allow you to know how to place the ball specifically when you have ball in hand, or if you're playing a shot, you want to know exactly where the cue ball is going to roll off to. It could help you prevent an unwanted scratch. In addition to that, you also have the indicator here for your perfect 90-degree angle. With these shots, the carom shots off at 30 degrees or 90 degrees, you can have complete cue ball track predictability. And you know that when you hit an object ball with 0 spin, that means it's not overspinning forward or reverse spinning back, but when it hits that ball, similar to a stop shot, at that point, that ball is going to go 90 degrees directly off the contact point. You can actually take your brack, aim it up, see where the shot is, see where the 90-degree angle is, and you can tell if it's going to go directly into a pocket. Now in this case, George has ball in hand. He's on the 1 ball, but you notice that 9 ball hanging in the corner pocket, definitely an easy win. The only problem is the 3 ball's in the way, so there's no combination. All he can work with here effectively is to know where to place that cue ball to get a 30-degree roll, and that cue ball goes directly into the 9 ball. George takes out his brack, and the first thing he does is he wants to pinpoint the straight line from the 1 ball to the 9 ball. Now as he's looking dead center through the brack where the lines are crossing, he can see from that point the exact contact on the cue ball. This is the view that George sees as he places an imaginary cue ball to make contact with the 1 ball. He can visually see this through the brack to see exactly where he wants his 1 ball to make contact. The next thing George is going to do is, following the straight line directly down the center from his brack, he'll see exactly where he wants to place his cue ball on the table in order to shoot at that ghost ball. Stepping back, putting his brack back into his pocket, he can easily now just step up to the shot and just shoot directly into the point where he sees the imaginary ghost ball to make the 9 ball. Now as George steps in, takes aim, and just releasing the shot and allowing the carom line to bring him straight into the 9 ball in order to win the game. What George is doing now is he's looking through the brack and he sees the contact point behind the 1 ball. His 90-degree carom indicator is showing him exactly if that angle line is going to come off, the cue ball coming off at the carom angle to make contact directly into the 3 ball. As he places the cue ball down and he gets ready to shoot, following the indicator from the brack, he could fire the shot, and of course pocketing the 9 ball. for the win. George, that was a fantastic carom shot, wasn't it?
I liked it. I liked the result.
Yes, of course. And with the 90 degree, and just before us we did the 30 degree, it was so easy to just see the cue ball path indicator from the brack, was it not?
Absolutely. It's my new best friend.
Great. And George, one of the best things about the brack while you're playing, of course, it just slips right into your pocket. And we know it takes only moments to use in order to line up your shot. And it's certainly going to help you having to not call timeout and have somebody come over and say, hit the rail here, hit the rail here. And George, here's the best part about this. The brack comes with its own carry case, so when you're not playing, it just attaches right onto your pool case, so it's always there when you need it to go out and play.
Fantastic.
That's great. Thanks, George. Appreciate your help. Everybody, I'm Dominic Esposito, your drill instructor, and along with George, we want to introduce you to the brack as the solution now, the bank rail angle calculator, to your one rail kicking and one rail banking and those complex two rail banks and kicks that you're looking for solutions to.